Yo, welcome back to yet another episode of the Tried and True podcast, where I like to keep it a buck in all pennies with the listeners, the watchers, and my guests. Speaking of guests, today we have a phenomenal soul. This is someone who I'm just very glad that I could even get on the podcast. So if y'all can imagine, this is probably going to end up being one of my more watched episodes by me. So I ain't going to do like a whole big introduction or anything, but I do want to say that we do have the lovely Hannah Jane in the building today.
Hello.
All right. And then go ahead and if you like, so I'm not stealing the shine, tell the people what you do and I suppose who you are other than your name.
Yeah, so I'm Hannah Jane, owner and designer of Art of Hannah Jane, a sustainable artwork company. So I create one-of-a-kind designs. They call them wearable canvases. They feature like animals and a bunch of different things that I associate with a lot of meaning.
Wearable canvases.
Yes.
That's dope. I've never heard that before. But that really does describe what you do pretty well.
Thank you.
I was kind of describing what you do to the guys like before we got started. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Wearable canvases.
Right?
Each piece is like a custom art piece.
Right. And that's why I like call them artwear, because I'm like, it's an art you wear.
Artwear.
Yeah.
You like coining some pretty important phrases.
I got my label down.
We're going to get some patents and some trademarks going for you straight up.
Right. Copyright.
Okay. That covers a lot of what you do. You have, and if I'm not mistaken, you specialize in like animals. And I did see that you had a collection where you did, was it floral?
Yep. So my animal pieces, like my motive behind it is like wearing the animal without wearing the animal. And so I construct a lot of animals out of denim and different fabrics to, visualize the integrity of the animal. They're pretty realistic, I would say, but in fabric form. And then my newest collection, the garden collection,
That's the one that I was. Yeah.
I did 3D flowers. So I constructed different flowers out of denim and just to like embody the garden.
How much time does something like that take?
You know what? To be honest, that collection I've been working on since 2019. So it's like... Man. A lot of times when I'm creating a collection, I really think about it for a long time. So like I visualize it. Yeah, it's like I literally know how to make it in my mind. And then when I go to make the piece, it's like instant. I can do it. Like I could do it with my eyes closed.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
But sometimes like if I have to, I can rush and like do stuff like just because I've really practiced my craft.
I was going to say, it probably comes with the skill level.
Yeah.
Like so if you need to, you can pump something out.
But for this collection, it was really important. So I really took time. I was like, it's going to go out when it goes out.
And then for the listeners and the viewers, it's as we're filming this, it's currently 2021. So if you can imagine that being started in 2019, it's been a couple of years.
We're going to have a new collection by the time this comes out.
Yeah. By the time this airs, there'll be some new stuff that you can tell people about during the pod too. I would definitely want to ask you about that stuff because that's exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm a denim person. I think I told you, like, I'm so big on denim. So I'm just like, you're one of the few designers that I'm waiting for more stuff. Even if I haven't like copped or anything, I'm on the internet like, yo, like what is Hannah doing next?
Yeah.
There's like a couple of y'all, not many.
I appreciate that. That was the same with you. And that's why we like were able to talk about it because it's like the way that also you represent yourself and speak yourself. I feel like I do it, but in a fashion way. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm huge on it's so funny because our lanes have intertwined so much. And we're about to end up getting into the podcast, but very naturally. It's crazy the way it just segues like that. But
right.
Yeah, because like you being deep in the fashion world and me, like I have a heart for fashion. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but I have a real heart for fashion. And I had to put music down for a while just to work on some other like business stuff and me becoming the person I needed to be for what I'm doing now.
Right.
I had to go get in the incubator, right? And I had to go in that hyperbolic time chamber for all the anime watchers. I had to go in there and really do the training to change who I am. But right before I did that, I was trying to cross over into the fashion world. Yeah. So the music I was making, I was getting into making like ballroom for like runway or like whatever.
Fire.
Yeah, so I produced too. So I was really trying to get into that. Trying to get into more like modeling or designing. I got like designer friends.
When it intertwines so crazy. Like even my runway, like because I showed in New York Fashion Week and when I did like my production for the show, we produced a track and it was me singing.
Oh,
so
really?
It's like cool.
Did you actually end up doing the fashion week?
I didn't this season.
Yeah.
The last one I did it was either 2019, I think.
Yeah. I just didn't want to brush over the fact that you did fashion week.
Yeah.
I don't know if people heard you say that.
Yeah.
It's like one of those, like, I don't actually mean to flex. Yeah. It's just the way that I live type of thing. I do the same thing.
Well, and it's just like, it's so natural because it's just things like they're not only accomplishments for us, like they're things that we've like wanted our whole life. And it's, I don't know, like it's natural that we did it and to say it because we did it, but it's also like important to be proud of ourselves that we reached these points.
And you know what that brings to light is that the work to get to the place is often more important than the destination.
Yep.
But sometimes you don't realize that swimming to the lily pad was the important part, not the actual lily pad.
Yeah.
You know, doing the digging and the personal development and the brand building and all this and that you have to do to reach those pinnacles is actually the important piece.
Yes.
Because you get to that place, or like I've done shows or I've gone on tours or I've done these big parties or whatever. Like I probably threw one of the biggest parties Denver's ever seen for my birthday. And what was important for me was I said, I'm going to put all of my knowledge to the test. Yeah. Everything that I've learned over time with the marketing and the branding and like everything I say that I can do, you know, let me really flex those muscles and let me prove it to me and see what I can pull together. So that the party was just like a fun celebration for me. I was celebrating the work. Like, look at what we did.
And it pays off. Like, whatever you're working towards or seeking, like, not only important to, like, say your goals, but, like, work towards them. Because, like, my last show that I did, I showed in New York Fashion Week at National Geographic in Times Square. Which was
just casually name drop National Geographic.
But it was so vital to my
That's
collection.
That's crazy because you have the
animals. And 6 months before, I'm like, I need to work with National Geographic. How can I get to this spot? And I got a call, and this lady was like, hey, I just met a lady who's doing the Fashion Week at this place in Times Square, National Geographic Times Square. You want to do it? And I'm just like, are you serious? Like,
that's crazy.
I said this 6 months, and then it worked. Like, but it wasn't as if like I didn't work towards it. Like I put everything into it and I believed in it.
That's manifestation.
And then it came true. Like it was so crazy. I couldn't believe it.
That's manifestation. I think people miss the part that they have to manifest things, you know?
Yes.
Like you put your faith and your belief on the line. You cast your net out there to make yourself available for the opportunity, but you took time to make sure that you were the right person for the job. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the part that a lot of people miss is you wait for things, but you don't wait like sitting in a waiting room tapping your foot. You wait like serving tables.
Yeah.
So while you are there in the room, you serve the tables that you're at. Yeah. And that puts you in the place where when it comes down the pipeline, you're already in position to receive it. Yeah. That's manifestation. You know, it's not just waiting. Or saying, I want this thing, I want this thing, I want this thing. Let me be the person so that when the other person with the key to that door comes in the room, they say, you. Yeah. You. And they might not know my face, but they know I'm who they were looking for. Yeah. Sounds like that's what happened because you already had the perfect collection. Yeah. You were prepared. Yeah. You were prepared with that opportunity.
Like, what am I going to do with this one? How am I going to represent this one in the way that I want? Like, but I just never gave up on the goal of like, how I wanted it to show and what I wanted it to mean too. So that's crazy. That's a fact. You really gotta 24/7. Like I feel like I'm working 24/7. I can't stop. Yeah. But that's like you said, that's manifestation.
That's just simply what it is. And when you're doing something that you truly love to do, even during the times when you don't like to do it, that is how it is. Like I feel like I'm always working because even when I'm not doing something with my body, I'm strategizing in my mind. Yeah. So I might be laying in bed with a cartoon on the TV thinking about my next branding tool or something.
Literally.
Like, you know what I mean? Literally. That's the personal development. Some of it just happens intrinsically.
I feel like it happens in dreams. Like I'll wake up and be like, I just designed something in my dream. Now I got to make this.
Literally? That happened to me this morning. Yes. I woke up and I got on the phone. Yeah. Swear. I was having dreams like all morning about different things there were scenarios playing out that I could feel what they were actually about in the real world. So when I woke up, I just took hold of the day.
Yeah.
Like everything that came up in the dreams. I've had whole songs recited in dreams before that I needed to wake up and remember.
I'm like, I got hella notes in my iPhone of just nonsense. And I go back and read them. I'm like, what was that thinking?
You'd be half asleep. You'd be like half asleep, barely awake. Just,
yeah, swear.
So question for you.
Yes.
Before I get too deep in my personal development bag, because you're taking me there.
Hey.
What got you interested in fashion to begin with? Like what? There are certain things, like for me, for example, as a kid, I never, like a lot of the stuff I'm doing right now, I didn't start out wanting to do. The one thing I started out wanting to do because the movie Juice was be a DJ, producer, and engineer.
Yeah.
Because I saw Juice.
Yeah.
You know, and before that, I didn't have too much. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to be free to do it.
Right.
But I saw Juice, and that's what I wanted to do. I started writing music because I saw a need that needed to be filled. And I started talking because I realized, oh, I'm a communicator. Like, I'm not a rapper or a singer or a DJ per se. Right. I'm a communicator of sorts, right? So I can write, I can talk, I can sing songs if I need to. I can put mixes together great to communicate vibes. I'm just a communicator.
Yeah.
But something had to kind of spark that flame. There are people I was around, who were rapping around me, and that's how I saw the need that needed to be filled. Producers who were... Some of them actually shouldn't have been producing, you know, but then some of them were like fire, and I was just around all the time when they were creating things, writers, stuff like that. So fashion-wise, what lit that fire for you in the beginning?
Yeah. So I've been doing it like my whole life. So like I started painting when I was 3, and then I started like, I have sketches of like designs from like just, 5 and up, all like. And then when I was 8, I started sewing.
At 8?
Mm-hmm. I feel like my family gave me, the push and the opportunity to thrive on this creativity. And so it just was such a natural part of me. Like, I just did it. I always did it. Like, even when I was a baby, it was like, where's my bow in my head? Like, I got to have a bow on or I'll be upset. So it's like, but those are little pieces that even like my mom noticed that she like pushed me to keep.
She nurtured it.
Yeah. And like, my first lion painting, I was 3 years old. And it's crazy to me because I made a lion at an adulthood and didn't know I did that. So it was like connecting my time and realizing that like I've been this my whole life. I just had the opportunity to figure it out so young. And also like be that. So it's like I never really changed from it. Like, I mean, as a kid, there's little things that you like, I want to be a vet. I want to do this or this. Right. But it was like
my
fashion.
My brother wanted to be a vacuum.
A vacuum.
The funniest thing ever. For a long time.
Hey.
Till he was like 8.
About creative. Like,
right? But I was like, whatever you want to be, bro.
Like, go ahead.
we can find a way to make it real. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But
yeah. And so I just kept pushing it. And like, fashion wasn't, I'm from North Dakota, so it's like fashion wasn't really a focus. And I honestly got made fun of for it a lot.
We relate
like,
in that way.
In 4th grade, I decided I was wearing pink for the entire year. I was like, this is who I am. And people went up to my mom, like, you gonna let her do that? And she was like, yeah, like, why not? So it's like, I just feel like it's been instilled with me my whole life. And like, my mom and dad just like gave me the tools.
They always
and
created
I took
space for you to be who you wanted to be.
Yeah, and she kept everything, and so it's like
that's crazy.
Yeah,
but as parents, I feel like like if you get certain parents who will toss it all the science projects got to go. You write them a card, it's going in the shredder. But then you got some parents who have like
she got everything.
Your first sock, it would be like everything.
Yeah. It's so, I mean, it's just a blessing because I have the ability to know that and like know that I've been doing this my whole life. And it just makes me feel like I'm not only on the right track, but I'm utilizing the tools that I was given at birth.
Like you're actually being resourceful and using your gift.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference, confidence-wise, and a lot of it is intrinsic. And when the environment's not conducive of you actually being who you are, maybe where you currently are, if you have it in you and you know it's in you and you know certain things about yourself, that alone gives you the juice to continue to till the soil. Yeah. And I wanted to say we relate a lot in the way you had mentioned, that you got made fun of a lot early in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like even me with just expression, and the reason I'm into fashion, I'm gonna preface it by saying this, is because like I said, I'm a communicator.
Yeah.
So when I wake up, I'm trying to decide how do I want to communicate myself to the world today.
Right.
And that's the way I pick my outfits.
Yeah.
So sometimes I might spend a lot of time. Sometimes I spend no time at all because I'm just like, how do I feel? I'm throwing that on.
Yep.
Which is why a lot of days I wear sweatsuits. But hey, that's me.
You still thought about it.
I did because I have a lot, and I'm not just gonna throw any of them on. I got to be how I'm feeling that day.
Yeah.
I got some that cost nothing, and some that could pay the rent.
Right.
Whatever.
Facts.
And early, I remember I had a costume, Halloween costume. It was a pirate Halloween costume, but it came with these pants. Oh, and this is so funny because of what people like the way people dress now.
Yeah. You're like,
Being a
I wore that at
trendsetter
8.
It's very painful. Let me just say that. Being a trendsetter sucks. But somebody got to do it, okay?
Man.
And they had these pants that were like capris, sort of, because they weren't to the ground, but they weren't all the way to my knee.
Yeah.
And the costume had them. And I decided, like, I want to wear these. And my parents had all this other stuff going on, so no one really paid attention to me a lot of days. And one day I got out of the house and wore them to school. And I was always bullied in general, but this was like a bad bully day for me because I had this costume pants on.
Yeah.
Fast forward time. And you remember everyone started wearing the pants like that were in between the knee and the ankle.
Yes.
Or like a male capri. Everybody in Atlanta was doing all of it. I'm like, this is just so fascinating to me. And then there was times when like, for example, I've always been into like really big t-shirts. Mm-hmm. Now they call them elongated, or they started rocking like say
oversized.
Tall right. Now I grew up in the world before baggy clothes. Mm-hmm. So when I was wearing tighter pants and bigger shirts, I was getting made fun of.
Yeah.
When I was wearing the ripped clothes or the skulls, there were people telling me the skulls were evil. And like the ripped clothes was like, you look homeless. Yeah. Now what do we see? This is what we see in the world. So it's just one of those things where when you say that you were punished by society for being who you naturally are, I relate in that way. Right. And that's, I think, and then also fascinating, I have this deep love for life, like living things, like animals and plants. So when you're designing the animal pieces or you go floral, like I love flowers and animals and lions and snakes and all this stuff. Yeah. And I just think it's just fascinating the way that not only that the way we've crossed paths, but the way that people like us, these things that we're talking about, say like on the podcast, we're almost like a tribe, like a distant tribe. Facts. You know what I'm saying? Like people who belong to the same cloth.
Well, they naturally kind of come together.
It's fascinating.
It's interesting, like when you said like people deemed like skulls evil and these certain things. Like, it's interesting because as like with my animals, we all make our certain interpretation of them. So it's like when I was telling you I was designing something with a snake on it, I'm like, people deem that evil. But like it has this other side that like is positive, transformation, rebirth, that kind of thing. And so it's like word of mouth can be rap. So like strong.
It's powerful.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, if you deem that bad, what do you think that's going to do to you? Like, you think it's going to just be like, oh, I like you? No, it's going to fight back.
What energy are you, like, what are you putting into the chemistry?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's, man, I feel like interpretation, like not only with words and like, you know, you speaking is vital, but even like fashion, it's like.
It's all art.
It's crazy.
Everything is our personal art, and everything is also perspective and it's subjective. Yeah. So even coming down to like snakes or like art pieces, like when you're trying to communicate, when you're communicating certain energy through your pieces, right? Something like that is like, things are what we make them. Yeah. We are human beings on planet Earth. Right. We decided what everything is. Yeah. We decided what everything is and what everything means. Nothing told us. And even if you think about what told us, it was intrinsic. Yeah. So whatever your faith is, if you believe that things were given to us to do, that is intrinsic. Yeah. So ultimately, at the end of the day, if you are cut from the same cloth as your creator, even still, we decided what everything was. So it's like English language words, right? Like I I try to tell people if I go to another country where a word is bad here and I say it to them, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But if I use one of their words and I'll be like, yo, don't say that. Or like the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Like in certain countries, if I do this, it's
You
like
never
the
know
middle
what
finger.
that means.
Yeah, it's like if you do this to somebody, it's like giving them the middle finger.
Yeah.
But it's like over here, it's like great. Or
Yeah.
like, yes, that's okay. Or like whatever. So it's like things are left up to interpretation.
Yeah.
But the problem is that people who I think have the most sensible thought patterns, I'll say, those aren't always the people who get to make the decisions.
Right.
And I think that word of mouth, like you said, because it's so powerful, it's like playing a game of telephone.
Yeah.
Snakes are not, it don't matter. I don't know what everyone believes, but snakes in general are not an evil thing. And I know that it's like, I look at animals and I care for them because they're like infants to me. They're like the elderly and they're like babies. They don't get to defend themselves against what we decide about them. It's like pit bulls and like all the pit bull laws and all this stuff. It's like people don't actually have to be educated on dogs to decide whether or not this dog should be put down. And I think that's unacceptable. You know what I mean?
And it's trauma and like, there's so many inflictions that can create a narrative
just
on
like
something.
People.
Yeah, and it's up to us to take the time to understand.
And that, with that being said, looping it back into people, that is the reason why I don't like to discriminate against people's art when it comes to like unique fashion pieces like yours. Just like an infant, an elderly person, or an animal is trying to effectively communicate in the ways they know how. When you are creating your art, when a musician is creating their art or something like that, they're trying to effectively communicate energy the way they know how.
And you never know what someone is going through.
You have no clue.
Like,
so it's not up to me to say that is good or bad. I can say that's interesting, or I can say I like that, or maybe I don't like that, but that doesn't make it a good or a bad thing.
Right.
So I think it's important, like even what you say about your parents giving you the room to be who you are. Crazy pivotal right there.
And I know that, not everyone has the opportunity to have their mom home with them all the time. Like, it's like, and so it's like, I understand that for some people, it takes time and like life has to be lived. And fortunately, I was blessed to be able to have that time. And so I think like, as I grew up, I not only appreciated that more and more, and it's just like having the ability to go back and look at it, it just made me see who I am, like as a person and what I was given. What
was always in you.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Like even looking back, it's just fascinating. Even when you mention trauma too, like kids who draw a lot, it's important to mind even what they're drawing because they're telling you what's on their mind.
They're telling a story.
They're telling it for real, like the way they know how. So even being an adult and being able to look back, like what were you drawing? Like, what was I drawing? I had a scenario where my dad found a journal of mine, an old one. He was sending me pictures of all my old drawings. And I'm like, it's crazy to think that what I do now was always in me. Yeah.
It's a cool realization.
Like it was always in you.
It's crazy. Like, it's like, whoa. Like, that's almost scary that...
Because you're just living life. Yeah. But you don't even know that, like, you're on track with something.
Yeah. When I saw that lion painting, I about cried. Because I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, who am... Like,
that's crazy.
This is me. Like, I've been interpreting this message for a long time, my whole life, 3 years old. Like
before you even knew what the message maybe was.
Yeah. And it's like, and then I create an interpretation that is significant to my life and makes me feel strong in the lion later on. So it's like, it's just crazy to see that. And it's truly a blessing.
That is crazy. Yeah. That's facts though. I'm curious because, and we mentioned like different types of adversity and things like that maybe you've had to deal with when you were starting out and young. But why did you never actually quit? Because when you talk about, first of all, fashion is rough. Yeah. Secondly, it's rough doing it, say where you were doing it from what you said. Yeah. And then also the uniqueness of what you're doing is not a thing that other people are really doing like that. So I can only imagine like the different types of glass ceilings that you've already had to try to break through and have broken through. Yeah. Why didn't you stop?
I feel like it's so instilled in me that it's like something that I naturally do even if I don't do it, that it's a part of every motion I make, and it's how I communicate. Like, it's how I navigate everything in my life. Like, I do it through art, which may sound weird, but it's like the way that I'm able to break things down or even understand things is always in an artistic way. And also, like, I deal with a chronic illness. And so, like, as I've been dealing with this, like, it's saved my life. Like, it's truly saved my life, because it's like when you deal with something every single day, something that is so you and is positive to your life is something that you have to hold on to.
Your
And
anchor.
like, yeah, like it's something that you have to take full advantage of and not give up on despite anything that comes your way. Like, I think it's so unfortunate when people, like, you know, because words hurt, man. Like, if people say things or judge you, like, it can instill a lot of fear in truly following your journey. But it's so important to,
Because
like,
words stick.
yes,
They can stick. You never know what you're saying to somebody when you're saying it.
yes, and it's so important to, like, never give up on what you sought out to do. And I think that was a choice. It was a choice I made one day. It was like, am I going to do this? Like, this journey isn't easy. Like, even being any type of entrepreneur, it's like, it's not, you have to try every single day. Like, you can't give up. Like, because if you break a moment and just leave it, it's not going to keep going. It's up
Right.
to you as
It's
an
up to you.
individual to keep pushing it. And I think it was just like, it was just a choice. And also, like, in the sense of who I am, it wasn't a choice, because I really,
Right.
like, I had to do it.
It's like it chose you.
Yeah, yes. And so it's not only saved my life, but it's just been able to, like, be my communicator and be my navigation through the world.
That's your outlet. That's your North Star, sort of.
Yeah, exactly. Completely.
You answer that question the same way I answer it. And I've never heard another person say it
For
the
real?
way that you said it, other than me, where I just tell people, like, there are some things that you can't run away from.
No.
So there are some things that you put down. They're like puppies. You put it down and you look up and it's in the bathroom with you.
Yeah.
And then you go somewhere
Yeah.
else and you look up, it's in the grocery store
Yes.
with you. And you go
Yes.
somewhere else and you look up and it's coming up in conversation or in an argument or in a happy moment. Like, it's
Yeah.
just always, you can't run from it.
Yeah.
That's what you should be doing.
Like, I feel
That's the way I
heartbroken
break it
or
down.
sick when I can't do it. Like,
To the point where it affects you physically.
it's so frustrating when I'm unable, and I still do it when I feel like, you know, like, you just certain days, it's just like, I don't have a choice. Like, I have to do it. Like, I feel moved to be, like, me and be what I've built. So
And be what you built and not put it down.
yeah.
And after a certain point, that's sort of a remedy to quitting, is to put in too much skin in the game to get it back. So some people just call it, like, just going all in, which is important. I think that's important, because if you go all in, after a certain point, it would cost you more to turn back. Or even if you at least get halfway there and you you can just feel like I'm so far from shore that if I were to turn back that way, I might as well just keep going this way. I might as well just keep going forward because of how far I've already come off the shore.
And people, like, often get discouraged when things don't have immediate response. And that's
instant gratification.
Yes, and that is something, like, I feel like as a creator you battle. Like, it's like, okay, like, I worked so hard on this, like, I want it to thrive right now. But it's like, it needs also that time and dedication put into the piece that you made, so it has the ability to live and, like, succeed. Because some of my stuff, like, some people haven't seen certain things and see them 2 years later, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I want this. Like, this is mine now. Like, and it's important to keep that in mind as you're going and never get discouraged, because that discouragement can be so rough and affect your ability to keep pushing.
That kind of leads into another question I have for you.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about, like, where most of your inspiration comes from, like, in today's day and age. Like, right now, where's most of your inspiration, even coming from?
So with my last collection, I think something that's been really important to me is, like, instilling my family and, like, what I've learned as I've grown up into now. And also, like, sustainability and, like, you know, being, like, a designer that creates recycled pieces, like, environmentally friendly. Like, I wanted to create a message wrapped around that. And as I've kind of like, my grandma passed away in February, and she's like she was an impeccable sewer, like like astronomically amazing. Like I wish like
Grandmas can sew.
yeah, and
Because
so
mine could too.
yeah,
It
and
just came with them as a package.
crazy. Like I'm like, wow, like that is insane. And so as I was creating my last collection, the garden collection, like because it was surrounded about like a tea party and then like a garden and just what a garden represents: growing, creating, sustaining. And then
Am I mistaken, or did I see that on the website?
yep.
I did.
And
okay.
so I intertwined like a tea party and certain things which were pieces of my childhood. And so as I've been creating more and more, I've been taking a look back at everything that's made me and everything that I've learned, and also like pieces of my parents or my grandma that they taught me or that they loved and like valued in life, and I've been interpreting that into my work, if that makes sense.
It does. I feel like I'm also at a point in all of my work where for whatever reason, maybe it's just something in the air, but for whatever reason, right now more than ever, it's important for me to tell the story the way it happened.
Yes.
And dig back in everything that's in me and start to just pull out what's already there and not necessarily seek new things.
Yeah.
I'm at a point right now where when it comes to the coaching, I need to dig in these old experiences that I don't talk about.
Yes.
I need to go back to old analogies that helped me. I need to, or when it comes to like music, I need to tell these stories the way they actually happen.
Yes.
Or, whatever the case may be. Like with branding, I obviously like I do all my own everything, graphics, and I manage all these social media accounts and do all this and that.
I get it.
And
a lot.
Right. And the way I am now is just like whatever it is that I'm creating, I need it to be accurate to who I really am and where I've actually been.
It's easier to tell the story if you dig into who you are and you learn about yourself. You're able to, and I think you're able to create the best work because you're getting to know yourself.
Exactly. Yep.
And it's like a lot of my pieces too are just about, transformation and courage and strength and just ability to get through things, which are like very significant to like my life and where I'm at, because I'm navigating things that I never thought I would be able to navigate.
And they're very unique to you.
Yeah. And so it's like I'm interpreting them in a fashion form because that's what I know how to do. And that's what keeps me sane. Like through every hardship, it's like I can create a design and it's like, okay,
that's something that
I was
able
have. And I did this.
Yeah.
And so I think, just instilling what we go through or what we've gone through in the past into what we're doing is just something that
those are recyclable materials.
Yeah.
Those are the recyclable materials of life. Even going back to your actual mission and message and the way you create your fashion.
Yes.
When you pull from the materials that were already used in your life, things that already happened to you or things that you already did, you are recycling those materials to recreate something new. Yeah. Even out of things that were already there.
And that's why I think like even my last collection I called The Garden, because it's the same concept. You're growing, you're creating, you're recycling. It's something that comes back every year and something beautiful comes out of it and you're able to sustain within it. And so I think all those things that you said are just exact, like to what I've been working on.
Facts. So also segueing into another thing I wanted to ask you is perfect. So just dealing with like the uniqueness of you, of your experiences, wanting to go back and pull from things that are accurate to specifically who you are, whether they're accurate to everyone else or not, although we do all pretty much relate in certain ways.
Right.
When you think about it, at what point, like when and how were you able to tell that you just as a person, as a designer, were set apart from, say, the average person in your lane?
Yeah.
Like when and how were you able to tell, like, I'm different.
Yeah.
I'm different, you know, in an important way.
Definitely young. Like definitely, man, I feel like maybe it would have been that 4th grade when I was like, I'm wearing pink every day and I don't care what you say. Like I'm going to do this. But definitely even like in junior high, I remember like when people would tell me to do things or stop doing things, I would kind of think about it before. And then like, as I kind of went to 7th, 8th grade, I started to not care. And it was just like, so like, this is what I'm going to do. And this is what I'm going to wear. And this is what I'm going to be like. And then as I went into high school, you know, those voices started to get like less and less and less. And I just didn't care. I just did what I wanted. But I would say like, it's been a process for a long time. Like, I feel like although I've been doing all this art and fashion for so long, I feel like I definitely found who I want to be and what I want to be like 4 years ago. Like, it was like, this is what I'm doing. I created Art of Hannah Jane. I'm going in this direction with animals, and this is what it's going to be. Because for the longest time, I was like, am I creating too many animals? Like, is this the same thing over and over and over?
I know how that goes.
And I was just like, no, like, I want to do this. This is what I do. And I'm so naturally driven towards this thing. And so I feel like I've gone through a lot of like rebirths and like transformations to like capturing me over and over and over. But then definitely probably like 4 years ago, it was like, yep, this is it. This is what my brand is going to look like. And it's going to keep looking like, and I'm going to thrive. So
that's important. You said something that made me think about, and I'm trying not to lose my train of thought. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, you're totally fine.
Gosh. Oh, it so many things you said. I was pulling in my mind. I was having these different revelatory moments. I think is what they're actually called. I try not to use too many words, like the big like $50 words. Like I'm
a dictionary person. Like I look synonyms for everything. I'm like, okay, what's this word? Okay, I want to learn 5 more that mean the same thing but sound cooler.
And I'm a words person,
me.
so I try not to do it, but here
I love words. I'm like, go crazy.
You see me trying to find a different word. I'm like, let me not do it. Too many syllables for people. Okay.
But I love it. That's me.
Nah, shoot, and I have something here. I don't know. I think that essentially, like, when you start to do you unapologetically, the environment reacts.
Yeah.
And if you don't, the environment reacts to that too.
Yes.
And I think if people would just look at everything around them and in them like an ecosystem, it will take what you give it, and it will make what it needs out of you. So if you don't tell your environment what you are and draw hard lines in the sand on who you're going to be, then it will just make you out to be whatever it believes you should be.
And it's so
That's what your environment will do.
To not give up on that.
And I think now I'm remembering what I was going to say is... I lost it again, but I don't know. Along the lines of that other thing I was just talking about, which I think is important anyway. I think that I've been in this same like similar kind of phase where you're trying to figure out. You spend so much time reinventing yourself to get to be the person that you're supposed to be. That I talked about this in a different podcast. Like a lot of times you can change things that need to stay the same.
Yeah.
And it will greatly affect your journey. And you can keep things the same that need to change.
Yes.
And it can be rough, but something just clicks. Like when your puzzle piece fits perfectly where you just were, and then you move out of it and you're like, no. Hold on, let me reel that back. I think this is that thing.
Yeah.
And if you just go all in on that, that's when people start to dominate their own specific lane.
Yeah.
There's enough road for everyone to have room to go forward.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you just stick to whatever your lane is once you find it, and USPs, unique selling propositions, which basically speaks to like the one thing that you have that everybody else doesn't have. If you can just quadruple down on that thing, then you will have a place forever. You might have to build your own nest. You might have to do that. You might have to, burrow your own little holes around all the other prairie dogs. But you'll always have your own home in the industry if you double down on your unique selling proposition. Like whatever that thing is that is uniquely you.
Right.
And I think that's just fascinating and it's just phenomenal that you're able to do that. That's something that people in my lane, say like the personal development, or I do like leadership training and organizational development. That means that I deal with a lot of nonprofits and corporate.
Yep.
And someone like me to unapologetically be me, that means I have to wear Cortezes and sweatsuits because that's me. Period. And because it doesn't affect the information that I have to bring to the organization.
Yeah.
That means that I have to wear my Rockies hat or my socks fitted. Like I have to backwards, like however I decide I want to rock it.
Yeah.
With my big t-shirts and my hoodies. Like I have to do it that way.
Yeah.
And even with a podcast or something like that, this is conversational, but it's educational first.
Right.
And with a podcast like this being like a self-help podcast,
Yeah.
I have to decide I don't want to come in here with a button up and a collar on.
Right.
I
gotta be comfortable.
I gotta do me. Like I cut the
yeah.
collars off so many of my shirts specifically because I gotta be free.
Right.
Like period. And even my button ups, I cut the collars off to make them Mandarin collars.
Yeah.
Because like I'm not,
Yeah.
I just am not your slave. I don't know. It's just something in my mind. So it's like even coming into the pod, it's like, okay, some of the industries that I plan to affect change in because I'm a change agent may or may not want to accept me as I am, but I have to come as I am regardless.
Because the message isn't going to come across if you don't feel like you.
It's not.
And it's important to like whatever hits you get during the day or like whatever you go through. Because I battle chronic illness. Like I have a brain malformation. So it's like I actually have to have surgery for it. And it's taken a huge chunk out of my life. Like it's really like it affects me to the point where it doesn't want me to create, you know? And so like when you go through things or are told you got to be a certain thing, it's important to, for one, not give up on the navigation of your process, but for two, to not be deterred by someone's voice. It's like your voice is the one that matters. And it's important to not give up on yourself and also not ignore what makes you you.
Period. And even going along with that, if you do somebody else, there will always be another person who will do better than you at that thing. Yeah. Always. But the one thing that no one can do better than you is you.
Yeah.
There's no one on planet Earth that can do you better than you. So
Facts.
If you just do you,
Facts.
You will win. All you got to do is go 12 rounds.
Yeah.
And you win at doing you. That's it. Because
yes.
life is going to beat you down about it.
And life is going to want you to give up on what your purpose is.
Because there's always there's, in the book that I read, there's a portion of it when they talk about the thorn in your side.
Yep.
And everyone has that thorn in their side. And it will always be there. So whatever it is, that thing that you have, there's always going to be that opposing force that causes you to work your creative muscle. Yeah. That is the only way that you will become who you need to be for where you're going. Yeah. If there were not that opposing force, there would be nothing prompting you to grow. Right. So I have an analogy that I did not know I was going to say, but I got to say it.
You got to.
And it's about the dodo bird. So people don't know this. The dodo bird is, these days they would call it probably one of the dumbest birds because it doesn't react to predators or anything really. What people don't know is all of the natural predators for the dodo bird are extinct. Yeah. They don't have natural predators anymore.
They're about smart.
So they're actually intelligent. They adapted to their environment. Yeah. They don't have natural predators anymore. Yeah. So the reason you could probably just run up on a dodo bird, or if you put something there to prey on a dodo bird, it's not built anymore to react to that because it didn't have that opposing force for so many generations that it adapted in a way that now, some would say, hurts its survival chances. As long as there's no predator, natural predator, it's fine. But the moment opposition comes up against that animal, or let's say those people, right, who went without that process and without those opposing forces, they get ate. Yeah. That's what we need. That's what you needed. You need, so like
control, like, because
we all have that thorn.
My mom asked me the other day, like things that I go through. She's like, is your illness controlling you or are you in control of your illness? And I was just like, I got to take control. Like I have a mission. I have a purpose. Shout out to moms.
You said mom asked you that?
Yeah.
Shout out to mom.
I'm like, I have a purpose. And so it's like my environment or these predators that come at me, I need to navigate it in my way and be in control of the situation so I can survive and be my best self. So it's like, it's interesting that you say that bird because I'm like, I feel like that.
Facts. You know something that it's just interesting that we do these things when it comes to like plants and animals and all this stuff, but when it comes to people, we don't apply the principles. Yeah. Even shipping fish to keep them fresh as you like, let's say they're being shipped like overseas.
Yeah.
You put a natural predator in the fish tank to chase it around and keep it moving and moving and
Right.
moving. That keeps it fresh on the way over here. That's why I can have a fresh fish from Japan. Because in the tank on the way here, they might put like a little shark in there that'll just swim around and they'll keep them moving and they'll keep them moving. That's how they do it.
Wow.
So I don't know. It's those forces. So I don't know. I just think it's fascinating. And it's so funny that you have an animal collection too. And
it's all relevant. It literally all coexists in like so many different ways, even like interpretation of words. It's like, okay, I can create this piece and it represents this whole language. And so it's crazy how it crosses over into many things. And I feel like that's even why you were interested in fashion, because fashion is still words. Like you're still speaking
Everything
something.
is words to me. Everything is communication. Everything is communication. And that's why I'm so interested in like branding.
Yeah.
I know how to communicate things to people.
Right.
So like if you have a cell phone or a water bottle, like I know how to brand this water bottle without me being here to speak for the water bottle. I know what to do with it to make sure that anytime a person looks at it,
let it be great. Like
exactly. Period. So it's just like exactly with fashion, it's expression, it's communication. And I had Wick Jones in here. He's I call him a super producer. Shout out to him. But when we were talking, we talked about how it's not my job to tell someone else what's best for them. Right. So I won't tell you what to wear. I will tell you not to wear it if it's not you.
Yes, and that's a fact.
I just want you to do you.
Yes.
And like even with coaching, my first, like, I don't even dive into what a person should do until I figure out what they need as it relates to who they actually are.
And it's important for them to figure it out because it won't live in their life if they don't get it.
That's why we start there. Even with like coaching up art, like doing artist development, like training up writers. I do that a lot this year. It's just a thing that I started doing. I really like it. But training up writers and encouraging them, like the first thing you got to do is find your voice, which includes like that entails you finding your identity.
Yep.
Like you need to find your identity in this thing, like
and not be fearful of it.
Embrace it. Like go all in on that thing, and from there we can build.
Yeah.
So yep, I don't know. All facts. Did you? I have like I don't really have a lot more questions for you. I got the lightning round that we'll get into in a minute. But
cool.
Any remarks, thoughts?
Not that I can think of. I'm just thankful for good conversation. And, you know,
fire. Yes.
It's like it's lovely that like we can relate on so many levels because you never really realize how many things just transform and like are able to be projected in different areas. Mm-hmm. And that's important for the world to know because it's like that forms their understanding of what we're able to do and how we can be the same in certain arenas. Yeah,
exactly. I just figure when it comes to like timeless principles and like key characteristics, I call them, stuff really does apply across the board. And people who are able to succeed at being their best selves just in life, those are the people who understand that, like, I can draw principles from the grass.
Yeah.
It applies across the board.
Yeah.
You know, like I can watch Animal Planet and I can look at the way the ecosystem, I can like, it all applies across the board, even to just planet Earth and just everything, like physics, math, all of it.
It all
you
applies.
can apply these equations. You can apply the way this ecosystem works. Like this ecosystem is different, but it has its that.
Yeah.
It has its version of that.
Yep.
It all applies across the board. So when you look at people, timeless principles, whatever career path or like any of that stuff, like two people like me and you, people will look at us and think of how different we are, but you listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
These things apply across the board, and that helps people remove excuses for not being themselves.
Yep. Facts.
The best thing we could be.
Gotta be ourselves.
All facts. So I gotta take a break real quick because I gotta talk about the water real quick. This is just what I always do. Y'all have seen on the pod, I've been sipping on this delicious Doge Drip water. Not only did one of my homies make this water, but it's actually very delicious. It's super clean. It originates in Colorado. Y'all know we spoiled with the water out here. I'm going to be relocating soon, but I'm drinking all the water I can while I'm here because it ain't going to be the same. So get your Doge Drip. So this is one of my partners who has the Doge Drip. He also has SoCo Digital Marketing Company and all kinds of stuff. So follow them online. It's the Doge Drip on Instagram and all that. and
it's good.
It actually is good.
Water.
It's good. He DM'd me and he was like, "Yo, bro, I need you to tell me, like, be honest with me. What do you think about it? Blah blah blah." I was like, besides it being in a plastic bottle, like, it's fire.
It's clean.
Yeah, like it literally, like, you some waters you drink and you can taste the Coca-Cola factory.
It got a like aftertaste, like a little aftertaste.
Yeah, it's like I can taste the soda factory
like,
in that. Like, I don't know about all that. Like, I can taste the dirty filter that y'all should have figured that out.
Y'all should get it together.
Yeah, but like with this, I don't know. It's only a few waters that I stand by, and this is definitely one of them. So, we can do the lightning round. This is one of my favorite parts because it's just so we talk about all this
Quick
serious
facts.
stuff. So, you let me know when you're ready, and then I'll ask you a couple of these questions. They have nothing to do with the stuff we talked about.
I'm ready. I got it.
All right. Favorite movie?
Burlesque.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I love that movie. The fashion in it is fire. I know it's like no one would ever think.
Have you seen Cruella?
Oh my God, I want to see it.
I haven't seen it.
I want to see it because I'm like, okay, when I watched
I heard it was fire.
I watched the trailer and it wasn't like based on the dogs. It was based on like fashion. I'm like, I got to go to this.
Actual Cruella backstory.
This is me right now. I'm like, I got to go.
It's like a real backstory.
I'm like, who knows? That could be my new favorite movie. But
you never know.
I like to sing too, so that's why I like burlesque because I be in there.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're winning, like going crazy.
I heard that. Favorite book?
Oh, man.
Or for you, I'll do book or podcast.
Ooh, I'm trying to think, man. I got a couple favorite books. I just read this one. It was about like sustainability with food and like that kind of thing. I would say I can't think of the name right at this moment, but that would be I can't remember it. But it was about like food and how like processes of like living and just even the time our food travels and that kind of stuff. I know it sounds weird, but it's like it was crazy because it put into perspective even like how much gas it takes to like bring food to us and like all this extra stuff. So I can't remember what it was called, but right now that's my favorite.
You're gonna have to give me the title of that one, but I'll take it. I'm
like,
some people come in here and I'll be like, "Cap, like you don't know what you're talking about," but you actually described the book. Yeah, you did. So I'll take it.
Fire. No, it was so good, and I really wasn't expecting to like it because I was just like, "This." I'm really into
stuff like that.
I'll send you the book because I got it on my phone. So when I figure it out, but it was really good. I like read it for a sustainability thing, and I was just surprised because you never know what goes into everything, like how much goes into everything and how much waste.
And that's the stuff that we actually should look into. Like we should really look into that.
Yeah, and how much like toxins and just extra stuff like goes into what we eat. Like, and I mean, I eat anything. Like I'm kind of that type of person, but it was just like as I was learning about just how much waste.
At least you get to choose.
Like it was cool to know because it about changed my perspective on my like what I do with certain things and like where I shop.
Same, yeah. I started learning certain things and like I didn't change everything, but it's some stuff. I was like, let me just change
it takes time too.
Yeah,
like it takes time, but I was surprised that I liked it so much. Even though I don't know the name, like,
well,
right? You see, it's like
we'll get the title
Cap,
later.
Though, I promise, I'm not Cap. I know it.
We'll get the title later. Stay tuned.
Right, facts.
What's your favorite food right now?
You know what? I like seafood, so I like shrimp and grits, but they gotta be spicy. Like, ooh, I like that.
Have you had the French press?
No.
Okay. Shrimp and grits from the French press. Now they're not spicy.
I'm like, I'll add sriracha. It's fine.
They're not spicy, but they are fire with sriracha. I love sriracha, so that's what I put in it.
Yeah.
I think it's delicious.
Okay.
You might be a tough critic, so you have to let me know.
All right. I love it. And it's surprising because I'm from North Dakota, so it's all like meat and potatoes and that kind of vibe, which is fire. But I'm like...
You probably had a lot of that, though.
Seafood all the way.
I'm a seafood head. I'm
crab,
about to
lobster.
go pescatarian. For real.
See, that's where I'm about at because I about get freaked out about meat now. Like
it's just a lot.
Things.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of certain things.
And you can feel it too. Like you start eating too much to certain things and your body, like you can feel it.
I did a food sensitivity test and I'm like have an allergy to chicken. And I was like, what is that? Is that a thing?
It's not. It is a thing. So it's deep. It ain't even that deep, I suppose. But there's something that they put in the chicken. I can't remember what it is. A couple of weeks ago, this chick downtown, she was working the grill at a food hall. And she was telling us like, it's not actually an allergy to chicken, but it's something that is in all the chicken
Yeah.
that people are developing allergies to. It's crazy.
And eggs. It was eggs too.
And
I was
exact, and eggs, and a lot of it is actually, it could be soy. You could have a soy allergy.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Who
but
knows?
and then it's another thing with like some people who think they have a gluten allergy, but it's something that's in all the bread. So it's not actually the gluten; it's something else that is in all the bread, though.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is.
It's harsh.
She was dropping knowledge on me. All right, so that's our food tutorial.
Hey.
Who's your favorite person right now?
Oh man, favorite person. I definitely, you know what? I feel like lately, like I know this is not a celebrity, anyone specific, but it's just like since my grandma passed away, I feel like she's been with me and like in everything I do. And so it's just like I can about hear her voice in everything I'm doing. So it's like she's definitely like the most constant. And so I could say she's my favorite person because she's still living with me right now.
Shout out to grandma.
And I'm like, because she used to call me Hannah J. And I'm like, it about hit me the other day. I heard it and I was like, damn, I got to call my grandma. But then I was like, okay, well, she just called me. She called.
Yeah.
So she my favorite person.
I'll take that. That's a good answer.
She helping me create too.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite accomplishment to date?
Oh man. I would definitely say like doing Nat Geo was huge. Just showcasing in that arena was definitely something that was like so valuable to my collection. I would also say the garden collection is so like it took me so long to like push through just because I've been battling with an illness for 3 years now. So it was like it really when you go through something or like you know you go through something that affects your body without your control every single day, it really takes a toll on your ability. And so I think like not giving up on getting this collection out because my goal I have surgery on June 28th, so my goal was to have this out before that and make it fire, like do it in the biggest way I possibly could in the way that I dreamed it and saw it. And I think like accomplishing that's
what I was gonna say earlier that I couldn't remember.
Hey, it comes back around.
Go for it. I won't forget this. Go for it.
No, it's just like just being able to bring it to life in the way that I wanted to, despite what I was going through, was just, I think I cried about after that too. Like it just felt like such an accomplishment, just not giving up and just keep going. Like, so I would say that too.
There's significance in creating the picture in real life exactly the way the vision happened in your mind.
Yes.
There's an importance to it. It's even with like my book and the way I've been going about it and everything. I've had people who are like trying to look out for my pockets and things like that. And they're telling me like, well, why don't you do it this way or that way or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yo, bro, trust me. I have had these thoughts a million times, but I have to do it exactly the way it came to me. Like I have to do it exactly the way it came to me.
You won't be fulfilled and you'll want to redo it.
No, like even if I go big, it's like I got to hit my mark. I have to hit my mark.
You have to.
Wherever I aimed, I got to hit it straight in the middle of that bullseye. Even if I could have shot higher, I got to hit my mark. And for the next thing I do, you know, I'll apply whatever.
Right.
But it's some things, it's almost like you receive divine instructions. And you just have to do it exactly the way it was laid out.
Walking up those stairs, like it's like you can't skip a step, or else like it's gonna come back later on in life.
And no one else might care, but you be laying there.
Some
on your
people don't care at all. Like
it.
some people about cool, just like going
doing
crazy
whatever.
and going, you know,
doing whatever.
Cap,
yeah,
but like
cap. But yeah, no, it's like I just figure at the end of it all, like when I'm done making things or doing whatever, I want to be able to look back and say, nah, I did that exactly how I said I was going to do it.
Respectively.
Like I did it exactly how I said I was going to do it.
And that's where you get your, you know, where people are able to look at you and respect you and like take advice from you, like, and feel confident in what you're giving because
you're consistent with what you say.
It's so sincere.
Sincerity. Yeah. You better start a whole nother podcast.
Hey.
Oh, that kind of leads me to the next lightning round question. Do you have a mantra right now? It's like a saying that you keep, I don't know, like your words of this season of your life.
So, I kind of mentioned before. I know I don't want to get into the seriousness of illnesses, but so I was diagnosed with a brain malformation. So it's called Chiari malformation. So basically, it's like my brain grew bigger than it was supposed to. So it like protrudes out of my skull, and it causes like all these insane symptoms and all this craziness. But despite that, so like it's crazy because the symbol of it is a butterfly and the color is purple. And so it really hit home to me because like the butterfly is transformation and like, you know, going from a caterpillar to a butterfly, that's a process. And so I think like that representation, I know it's not so much a statement, but it's like I just did a photo shoot where I represented myself as a cocoon to a butterfly. And so I think just like
that's fire.
Yeah, so it's like transformation and like keep going are truly things that have been just instilled in me every single day. Like just transform, Hannah, because after my surgery, it's hard, but it's giving me an opportunity at being me again. And so I've just been, you know, my mantra is like, just keep
I'll
going.
Take
like
that purple butterfly. I'll take that
yes,
symbolism.
I feel like that. That's what I feel like. I feel like that's what I'm going to be. And it was crazy because I create animals and I was just like, I do butterflies. So how does it make sense that what my body is
Perfect
like
sense.
this thing? Like it. So I like I said, I know it's not so much a saying, but
I'll take it.
Okay, cool.
That's better.
Okay.
That's
I
better.
feel it.
Normally, I would have took just keep swimming because
nah.
you know what? You can say anything, but nah, that's
I'm a
fire.
butterfly.
I will say this because I'm about to land this plane here. We've had a phenomenal podcast. I'm very pleased. This conversation was more than what I could have asked for. I'm glad that even came and took time out of your busy schedule because you are busy creating something that people are about to see that I already know is phenomenal. We got some more stuff that we're going to get into after the podcast. Since I'm landing the plane and we just talked about mantras, I'm going to drop a quote for everyone that kind of goes along with some of the stuff that we talked about. Literally didn't plan this out, but as you were talking, I was like, I got something in my training content that is perfect for this. And it's a quote that a voice kind of dropped it on me. I'll say like a little birdie. I'll say a dove brought this to me the other day.
I love
and it says, freedom shines from beyond the horizon of your identity. And I don't want to explain it too much because I want people to really think about that and allow the nuance of those words to follow you all throughout the remainder of this year and maybe the decade. That freedom shines from beyond the horizon of your identity. So
that's fire.
Use that as your North Star. Next time you're trying to figure out where to go, chase yourself.
Be it. Like, don't be in fear of it. Like, be free to who you are. Like,
that is freedom. So landing the plane, Hannah Jane was tried and everything was true. So Tried and True Podcast signing out. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
We out.